Enuma Elish, Tablet 6. Once Marduk heard the words that the gods had declared, he was then determined to accomplish unparalleled deeds. Directing his words to Ea of the plan he was mulling over. My thought is to collect blood and construct bones also. My thought is to create a primitive human to be called man. So thus I am well inclined to give rise to primal humanity, and the work which is now done by the gods he will do, so that the gods will not be required to labor forevermore. Through this I will alter dramatically life among the gods, so that they might be viewed as one, even if in two camps. Ea replied to him and said these words to him, to Marduk, relating to him what he thought would bring the gods rest. Then have one who has been rebellious be brought forward, that he might be slain, so that people might thus be made, and then bring together a council of all the high gods. Have the offender handed over and convicted of his offense. So thus Marduk brought together a council of the high gods, and related to them without trouble the details of the plan, passing on his commands, and the gods listened attentively, and they heard everything which he communicated to them. Thus the king directed his words to the Anunnaki, saying, The decision you have made to crown me king shall endure, may it not be superseded, and I will forever speak the law and declare every statute on matters I have dominion over. Who is the one who is responsible for provoking this war, and encouraging Tiamat to gather together a battle force? Have this one who gave rise to the war brought before me, so that he might be judged and sentenced for his offense, so that you, the gods, will no longer be troubled by him. Then the Igigi, the high gods, provided their answer to him, to Lord Lugal, Dimmer and Kia, judge of the gods, saying, The one you seek is Kingu. It is he who provoked this war. It is he who encouraged Tiamat to gather a battle force. And thus they chained him and brought him before Ea, and they judged and sentenced him and spilled his blood. From this Ea made mankind from out of his lost blood. To him they gave the labor of the gods, thus freeing them. Then after the knowledgeable Ea had made mankind, he had him do the labor of the gods, a deed beyond words. For Nidamud did it with the wondrous power of Marduk. King Marduk then caused the gods to be separated into two. Each of the Anunnaki was to be assigned over or beneath, and he spoke a pronouncement that Anu be the guardian, and designated 300 gods to guard the heavens. Then did just the same in his declaration concerning earth, so that the entire 600 resided on earth or in heaven. Then after he had finished making all of his declarations, having made the Anunnaki resided either heaven or earth, the Anunnaki raised their voices to Lord Marduk, saying, Since you have now liberated us from our work, O Lord, what manner of kindness might you now bestow unto us? For we would like to construct a temple of great distinction, to have our sleeping quarters alongside yours, so as to rest. Thus permit us to build a temple where we might find shelter, so that whenever we gather to you, we might lounge there. Once Marduk heard their words, his face shone like sunlight. Then build Babylon to be the construction project you seek. Have there be mud bricks cast, and construct a lofty temple. Thus the Anunnaki excavated, making bricks for a full year, and when the following year came, they had erected it high, raising aloft the peak of Esaglia, which was nearby the Apsu. Thus they had constructed a lofty ziggurat fit for the Apsu. There were also built places of residence for Anu, Elil, and Ea. Highest among any edifice it was established before them, where its towers gazed down upon the foundations of Ishara, and they had completed their work on the tempest Esaglia. And each of the Anunnaki made his own personal temple. Then the 300 Igigi gods who inhabited heaven, together with the Anunnaki gods of the Apsu, came together. Then the Lord invited his forebearers, the gods, to a feast. There in the vast palace he had made as his own residence. Truly this gate of God will now likewise be your home. And so let there be singing and festivity, and be content. Thus the high gods took their places there at the tables. Beer mugs were set out, and they took part in the banquet. Then after having enjoyed themselves there for some time, they all went to Grand Isaglia to make a show offering. Thus every one of these orders and aims were established, and each god had been given a place in heaven or on earth. And 50 high gods set forth the 7 echelons of the cult, and the Lord took his bow up and placed it before them. His forebearers the gods also examined the net he had made, inspecting the bow, gazing upon its wondrous workmanship, and his forebearers extolled all of his fine accomplishments. Then Anu lifted her up and addressed the divine council, kissing the bow and saying, "Let her have unrivaled range," and declared for the bow that what she would be called, saying, "Thus ought long and far be primary, victory secondary, and her third name is Bowstar, for its glow in the heavens." And he secured her a place amongst her associates the gods. Then after Anu had declared the rank of the bow henceforth, he located her throne. "Of all gods, your place will be highest." Anu caused her to be seated at the divine council of the gods. The high gods congregated and made Marduk foremost of all. Bowing themselves before him, they swore oaths of allegiance, and it was sworn by water and oil, motioning to their necks. In doing so, they thus affirmed that he be the gods' overlord, and certified his rule over every god in both heaven and earth. Then Anshar declared that Marduk be known as Arsaluhi. Then when his name was pronounced, we will all bow ourselves. And the gods were all advised to give due notice to his words. His declaration shall have precedence both above and beneath, and there will be none higher than the Son who is our avenger. With his authority second to none, he shall have no challenger. He will be a shepherd to the entire people of his own making. May all his acts be spoken of in the future, never to be forsaken. He will begin the grand food offering in honor of his forebears. He will be their guardian and will be protector of their temples. He will cause them to breathe deeply of the smoke offering. As such, he will cause their utterances to be joyous and mirthful. May his breath be as freely taken on earth as it is in heaven. May he cause the entire people of earth to give him reverence, so that humankind will remember him and call him their God. May their mediating goddess give heed whenever he speaks. May these food offerings be made to both God and goddess, so that they never be forsaken, so that they abide by their God, so their nation is supreme, never ceasing from erecting temples, even as the entire people each chooses his own among the gods. For us, under whatever name he might be called, he is our God. So gather around and let us all call him by all his 50 names. May all his manners be recalled in the future, all he does also. Marduk, as Anu his father chose at the time he was born to guard pastures, lakes, and springs, so that herds increase. Whoever overpowered the rebels with his awesome flood weapon and released his forebearers, the gods, from their anguishes, may his name be declared to be the Son, King of the gods. Might they walk henceforth in the glow of his pervading aura. The humans that he made of mortal life who must breathe, he set them to do the gods' work, that they might have leisure, both creation and obliteration, both sentence and absolution. These he might always call upon, so they ought to defer to him. Maruka is the name of the god that made humankind, bringing blessings to the Anunnaki, freeing the Ijiji from toil. Marutuku is benefactor of the land, town, and people. He is the one that humankind will give reverence for all time. Murshakushu is severe but kind, forceful but forgiving. He is magnanimous of heart and is not ruled by his emotions. Lugal, Dimmer, and Kia. The name we give him together, his decrees we made superior to those of his forebearers, the gods. There is no doubt he is Bel, of every god of heaven and earth, a king whose words are revered by the gods above and beneath. Nari, Lugal, Dimmer, and Kia is his name as leader of gods, who gave us homes in heaven and earth, despite the challenges, and who assigned the various duties of the Ajiji and Anunnaki. At the utterance of his names, the gods rightly shudder at home. Arsarluhi is the name given to him by his grandfather Anu. May he provide guidance to the gods and be the best chief, who, true to his name, is guardian of both divinity and nation, saving our homes from the tide of war, despite the challenges. Also, they refer to Asarhuli as Nemtila, given he is God of life. He healed each of the injured gods as though he'd made them. He is Bel, who brings the dead gods back with his perfect spell, defeating all his challengers and conquering all his enemies. The third name of Asarluhi is Namru, given for this reason. He is the god of purity who cleanses the pathway before us. Anshar, Lamu, and Lahamu shouted out his three names. They declared them openly before all their children, the gods. We have designated him to be known by these three names. So then you too must shout these names out, just as we have. And the gods were pleased and did as they were commanded. In Upshu Ukanaku, there was a discussion in their assembly. We ought to do something to honor the sun, the hero's name, him who is our defender and is our guardian and savior. They took seats at the council and started to proclaim fates, and they voiced his name during every one of their rituals. Peace and blessings to you all.